Hey YouTube, how are you? So I did my bug out bags basic video yesterday, and I've received a few messages from people asking me if I have a bug out bag and what it might look like. So I thought I'd show you guys. So let's have a look. Now this is what mine looks like, and it changes usually with the seasons, right? So sometimes I take out things and add things, but for the most part, what you're about to see is what I have in my bag pretty much all the time. The things that mostly change at this point are, winter and summer clothing, and that's more or less about it. I've kind of sort of got mine down to a science at this point of how I want it to be and what I like. So let's have a look. So here we go. So you guys can see here are all the contents of my bag laid out on my table. So let's have a little look here. Now, this is probably one of my favorite knives, and I use it for batoning. And this thing is it just goes. It just goes. I have used it on all kinds of stuff, and that bad boy is great for batoning. If you're wondering where I got it, I will honestly tell you I don't remember. I've had it that long. As you can see, the handle's pretty pretty worn out. It's taped together, hockey tape and electrical tape. I have used and abused this knife quite a bit in the bush for everything from bushcrafting to camping and hunting, and yeah, great knife. It's just essentially all it is just a big Bowie knife, but it's great to have, and I use this one quite a bit. In this bag here, this is just simply a headlamp with batteries. I love my headlamps, and I make sure I carry extra batteries with me. I prefer a headlamp over the other type of flashlights because the headlamp allows me to still use my hands and be hands-free to do other tasks. This is my fishing kit. It's small, it's compact, it's got all my hooks and line in there, and a small package of assorted hooks. And I've also got a few other lures in here. It doesn't have to be big. I mean, like I said, we're having this for in emergencies, right? So there's enough in there that I could go fishing and catch some fish if I needed to, and be able to feed myself. Moving over is a tarp. This is a 10 by 12 tarp, and I chose brown because I realize that there are blue tarps everywhere, but brown tarps, you're in the bush. A brown tarp is gonna do a heck of a lot better at blending in than those nice bright blue ones, because there's nothing blue and square in the bush. So brown, you stand a heck of a lot better chance of blending in than those blue tarps. And I recommend, if you're thinking about adding a tarp to your pack, to make sure that you get something big enough that you can adequately cover the ground yourself and a bit of the ground around you, in case it gets wet. Military grade surplus sleeping bag. This bag it's old, but it still works just fine. I've had it for many years. This bag, for me, this is my summer bag. This is the inner bag to a Canadian Forces sleep system. I have the outer bag that attaches to it, and this bag is good to like 0, I believe. I think this is the coldest you can get with this bag. It keeps me plenty warm for all the other months of the year except for winter. I've never had a problem with this bag at all. And this bag here, this is just about damn near a lot of things. I've got some tape in here. I've got some rope. I've got a handkerchief. I've got some fire starter in here. So I've got cotton balls of Vaseline and some dryer lint, and there's a lighter in there as well. I've got my water filtration here. Now this is an older filtration. I think maybe I'll do a separate video on this. This is an older, it's not a Life Straw, but it is a very good little unit, and I will probably do another video on this later, just to show you guys what it's all about. Earplugs. I've got a survival blanket in here. I've got some hand warmers in here as well. Just, you never know, right? So, and I also like to put all my stuff in these bags because I find that it keeps it more organized, and then all I have to do is just grab the bag when I need the stuff instead of having everything all over my backpack. I try and pack it away in these Ziploc bags. Food, very important. You got to have food, and these are, like I talked about in a previous video about Mountain House meals. That's exactly what these are. This one here is mac and cheese, and this one beside it here is chicken teriyaki with rice. Again, like I said before, I prefer Mountain House. So those are the two that I've got to get me going when I'm out in the bush. And of course, if I'm out in a situation in the bush where I have to be in the bush to survive for a while, I've also got snare wire, and snare wire is absolutely great to have because it allows you. It's passive hunting, right? You can make a snare and set it up, or make multiple snares, and the snare is doing the work while you are maybe setting up camp or setting up your shelter, or doing other jobs, right? So snare wire is definitely good to have, and it's just an easier way to hunt without actually having to walk through the woods with your 22 or whatever, right? So good to have. I highly recommend it. Fire starter. Now this is my flint and steel. I made this myself. I made a video about this exact one, how I did it on my channel, and these things are great. They work really well. They're great to have, and lighters are great too. I also have a lighter with my stuff, but this will outlast a lighter by far. So if you're not sure about maybe if you should pack another form of fire starter, I highly recommend something like this because, like I said, lighters run out of fluid. This will last a lot longer. Obviously, toilet paper. That's an easy one. Toilet paper is toilet paper, and we all know the benefits of toilet paper. Coming around to the side here. So on top of food, obviously I have utensils. And these were just Army surplus utensil kit that I bought at my local surplus store. And they're great. I mean, I've used them before. They have come in a little package to keep them dry for the most part. And, stainless steel, easy to wash. And they're really, affordable. This is a little camp stove. I think I might do a separate video on this one. This is just a small little Coghlan's camp stove. Now this is my second one. This one's new. I haven't used this one yet. My last one I had of these, I used it and it was great, but I ended up actually breaking it by accident, so I had to go buy a new one. But I will probably do a separate video on these little camp stoves in the future because they're great little stoves to have. They're absolutely great. This style works well for me. As you can see, it folds up and it fits nicely in my pack. So I'm really glad I have that, and it works well. Obviously, I've got a stainless steel cup, right? Because we got to have teas and coffees and things. And in here, I just have an assortment of tea because I don't mind drinking tea. Tea's a little easier. It's lighter to carry around than, say, maybe a small can of coffee. And I don't mind drinking tea, so it doesn't bother me. I don't think if it all goes downhill, I'm going to be too picky about what I'm having to drink. I think I'll just be grateful to have something to drink. And this is my cook set. This is the Stanley cook set, and these things are great. I'll probably very likely do another video on these Stanley cook sets. This is my second one. The other one I actually gave to a friend who, when he saw this one, he was really impressed and he wanted one. So I gave him my old one, and I'd gone out and bought a new one. Great sets. Inside there's a couple of small cups inside there, and yeah, these are just really great to have. Small first aid kit. I talked in a previous video about having a first aid kit and making sure that you have first aid training. And I'll double back on that. Make sure you have a first aid kit with you for yourself, potentially for somebody else if you need to help somebody else, fix a wound. Slips, trips, and falls are going to happen, folks. Small saw. These are great little saws. This is just I think I bought this one at my local hardware store. You know, they don't, see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. So they're not overly expensive. I think this was maybe 10 bucks. But for cutting down small trees and small limbs, that type of thing, these are perfect. I've used these lots in the bush, and I find they work really well. And, you know, for the amount of money you pay for them, they're not bad to have. So I'm glad I got mine. A local map. This is just a map of my local area. Paracord, 550 paracord. Again, I mentioned in another video that, you know, you can buy this stuff. It's fairly inexpensive. Again, 550, this is 100 feet, 7 strand, made in the good old US of A. Doesn't take up a lot of space. There's all kinds of different colors. I mean, you can get pretty much any color you want. Have some paracord. And let's do clothes. Now, I do have this chamois here. I find these things are, you know, I guess there's a line of thinking that these are, you know, have some tactical sort of purpose, I guess. I kind of have these more for, you know, it's kind of more linked to my first aid, right? I mean, if you know, you wreck your arm, you hurt your arm, you know, you can make a sling out of these. There's so many uses for these different things, these types of cloths. So they're good to have. I like having them. I've used them before in a pinch. So I think these are good to have. So if you're thinking about it, maybe consider putting one of those in with your gear. Socks and underwear, pretty simple, pretty basic. You know, you got having clean, dry feet and dry under stuff is good to have. So I recommend it. If you don't have enough of it, go get some more, add it to your pack, because you'll be glad you did. And just some other. I mean, this is some more. This is just a fleece sweater that I've had for years. I've got a long sleeve shirt here, and I have a pair of pants, which I haven't added back yet because they're in the wash. But clothes, have at least a change of clothes with you in your pack, because, you know, the idea behind this is that you're potentially not in the city. Obviously, we're situations where, you know, washer and dryer aren't available, so pack a change of clothes. That'll definitely come in handy in, you know, say wet weather or adverse conditions where you need to change. So keep that in mind. And last but not least is my bag. Now this bag is great. This is a Mountain Equipment Co-op, and this bag is huge. I actually got this in a trade with a fellow. I don't know, about a year and a half ago, I guess. And he wanted to, I had a Molly type, big Molly type bag, and he wanted to have my bag, and he said, well, I'll trade you. And I said, well, okay, I didn't really have an issue with that. But I mean, this bag has a ton of pockets. And the size up top is just ginormous. There's a huge area here. This thing is probably, I want to say it's 40 liters, but I could be wrong. But I mean, this bag is huge. I mean, that's just the size in there. Maybe the camera doesn't show it that well, but the amount of room I have inside this pack is plentiful. And there's lots of extra pockets too. I've got this pocket up here, which is got some waterproof. It's got some thick plastic on there, so I can put stuff in there and keep it dry. There's pockets all over this bag, all over. Here's one here. This one goes almost the full length of the side of the pack. There's one on this side, and there's one down here. So larger items like my big Bowie knife, you know, my Stanley cook set can go in here. I've got a large front compartment right here. It's got a little bit of this cord webbing on it to hold stuff. But this itself is a large compartment that I can put things in. And this bag is just, it's a bit of a tank. It's got a built-in frame. So this bag has, as you can see, it does have a built-in frame. And this is great. The supports on this bag are wonderful. I mean, it's fully adjustable. All the straps are well made, well built. I've had this thing out on a couple of trips just to try it out. And yeah, this thing is very well put together. Lots of padding on the cushions here to go around your hips. Lots of padding. Back cushion, lower back cushioning here is good. It's ventilated. It ventilates well. So, and you know, at the end of the day, this is going to probably last me a long, long time. So I'm actually kind of glad that I traded with this guy, because to be honest, I kind of like this pack more than I like my Molly pack, if I'm being perfectly honest. Anyways, folks, I just wanted to show you guys that, you know, that is what I have in my bag, and these types of things are, you know, all good to have. And there's going to be lots of different ideas out there, and your approach and your setup, you know, will likely not be the same as mine, because, you know, that's just the nature of this, right? And there is no one size fits all. It's just what works best for people. So if you're thinking about it, do some research. Get your mind into this, because this could potentially be the type of thing that, if you need it, it'll be nice to have. If you don't have it and you do need it, well, you're going to be shit out of luck. So, things to think about. I'll leave this with you guys. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.